Dad used to work in the fruit and veg markets in Southampton. So wholesale markets, used to sell fruit and veg to the ocean-going liners and all the hotels and businesses in that area. So I always remember going down and meeting him from work, and there's a real buzz about the place and the smell, and I used to rummage through all the boxes and see all these amazing products. And one of the perks of the job was he used to come home every week with a bag of ingredients. More often than not, most of them I'd never seen or heard of, so I'm talking way back now when kiwis weren't in the shops or pawpaw or anything like that. So they used to go into the fridge and we used to sort of open the door and peer at them every morning and not really knowing what to do with them. So me being me, I hate waste, I always have done. It pricked my imagination and the inquisitive nature in me, and I sort of decided, like, I'm going to find out about these ingredients and try to use them within the family meal. So that's what got me into cooking. My mum was also out to work all the time, so I used to get in from school, watch a bit of TV, make myself a cup of tea, and then rather than go out with my mates, I thought, oh, I'm going to cook the family meal, and I really enjoyed doing it. Nothing too extravagant, just the old spag bowl and curry. I was only 12, 13 at the time, so quite an early age. I just enjoy cooking, and that's what I wanted to do. And that's what inspired me to go out and find myself a part-time job. I was working in a Greek restaurant, you know, smashing plates on the floor, you know, to Zorba, and, you know, I was in control of the kebabs on the grill and the chips. I thought, life can't get better than this, and I'm getting paid for it. I went to college on a day release program in Southampton, and I went there thinking I was going to be the bee's knees. You know, I knew everything. I had 2 years on everyone else, and you know, I knew everything. So I got to college, and I was with all the people, all the young chefs that were employed in all the good hotels and restaurants around the New Forest and Hampshire area and stuff like that. And all of a sudden, I absolutely knew nothing, and I was rubbish compared to them. And it was a big wake-up call for me, because I just didn't want to be at the bottom of the class. Got an apprenticeship under a chef who'd been at the Savoy for 12 years. And he took me under his wing. Amazing classical grounding. So we know what we were doing the week after. So I'd go to the chef and say, right, we're making this and making that. And he would practice with me all week until when I went to college, I had it absolutely mastered. 4 or 5 months, he got me to the top of the class. Finished college, stayed another year, maybe a year and a half, and then I decided to apply for a job that was advertised in the Southampton Echo for a young chef who just opened his first restaurant called Jean-Christophe Novelli. So I got the job. I went as pastry chef because the last year and a half I'd specialised in pastry at Ryanfield. And within 2 months, I think, I was sous chef in typical JC fashion. What I wanted was the more modern side of the way restaurants go. See, I had the classical rounding. Now we have this mad, flamboyant Frenchman with all these different techniques and new ingredients to me. And obviously taught me the art of being a restaurateur as well. I worked for JC over a period of about 8.5 years. So I followed him around wherever he sprung up. Keith Floyd at the Michelin-stars down in Devon being one of them, which was a pretty amazing experience. Kept us on our toes down there, Keith. And then between obviously working with JC, I'd worked for Marco Pierre and John Burton Race, and did a stint in Paris as well. But there was one more disaster on the horizon first. I moved to a place called Addington Powers, just near to Croydon. And we built a really amazing restaurant there. You know, it was myself, I had Freddie Forrester, who won the Roux Scholarship, came through this college. I had a chef de partie there who'd come runner-up in the Roux Scholarship. I had a pastry chef that come fresh back from Varat, and we had built an amazing team, and we were very, very close to achieving something really special. All we needed was a little bit of PR to get us out there a bit more, and the owner decided, rather than to spend 20 grand a year on a PR person to make us the restaurant we wanted to be, he decided to decorate the side of a Croydon tram that went to West Croydon, which is not going to provide us with a lot of customers at West Croydon. So that just about said it all for me, and I just decided that was it. I needed to be in control of my own destiny. I needed to work for myself, and I decided I would never work for anyone ever again. Two guys that own this shell of a restaurant in the Lake District in a little village called Cartmel. Well, it wasn't even a restaurant, it was an antique shop, so they just modernised it, and it was an open space. And they were looking to find someone that would come in and rent it off them and create a restaurant. So they just phoned the Caterer and hotel keeper, looked in the back and found a recruitment consultant, a guy called Gary Peck, who just happened to be a mate of mine, and they just phoned him up to ask him if he knew anyone that would be willing to come up and do this. And he obviously thought of me immediately, and said, I've got just the guy. So he phoned me, and I said, ooh, you know, where's that? Where's Cumbria? And I looked on the map and went, whoa, no, that's way too far. 2 or 3 weeks were passed, and he kept phoning me, you know, you really should have a look at this. And then the deal in Brighton did fall flat, and I just thought, I've got nothing better to do. So I just left the south coast at 5 o'clock one morning, drove up to Cumbria. I was up there by 10 in the morning, met with the guys that owned it, showed me their vision. They showed me what support they were going to give me. So not only were they going to give me this amazing building, they were going to give me certain furniture, a certain allowance, and really sold me the dream. Well, it took us 6 months to come up, so I was without them for 6 months, you know, maybe seeing them once or twice a month, something like that. But even after that period, it was still touch and go whether it was the right decision. But we sold everything. You know, we took the punt. We sold our house, my car, all my electricals, literally everything we owned to put into the business, to keep it going, just to wait for that spark, to wait for the PR to kick in. Because obviously PR works way in advance. So, you know, we weren't fortunate enough to have a PR person working for us 6 months before the restaurant opened. They started work for us the day the restaurant opened, so we had to wait for all those things to filter through. So we took a massive punt. You know, when the customers don't roll in, you know, that's the last thing on your mind. You know, you just want customers, you know, people spending their money that will pay the wages. So that quickly fell by the wayside. I mean, as a chef, if you're opening a restaurant, you always want 5 rosettes, 10 out of 10 in the Good Food Guide, or 3 Michelin-stars. That's natural. Whether you actually get it or not is another matter. It's very difficult to get, and I never set out to open a restaurant with that in mind. First and foremost, it's got to be a really successful enterprise that makes money, that can pay its debts, and can reinvest. Once you can reinvest, then you can make it better, and then those things come, and obviously that helps future expansion. So, you know, they are important, but they're not the be-all and end-all. It's not what I think about all the time. But I'm sure any young chef coming into the industry now and opening their own restaurant would be exactly the same as I was in those days. We got a call from Mike McGrain at the Midland Hotel, asking if we'd be interested in talking to him about a big space that they had, which was a bit of a white elephant, to do a big brasserie. It was like, well, you know, this is a bit of a weird one as well. But I thought, Manchester, you know, I've always wanted to do something in Manchester. Probably a bit bigger than what I anticipated, but you know, let's have a chat about it. So I quite like the idea, quite like the concept. But then they had another restaurant called The French, and I thought, well, if we do something really good in what is now Mr. Cooper's, The French, which was already pretty much dying, had very little customers, and it was very old school, very traditional, hadn't really changed much for 20 years, that would be gone because there would be no customers at all. So I said, well, I put the idea to them that let's take over The French as well, and we'll do that first. There was another reason. Obviously, the French was one of the first restaurants in the UK to have a Michelin-star and the first ever Michelin guide. Really famous chef was in there at the beginning, and it had an amazing reputation for many, many years, and it had fallen by the wayside. And I quite like the idea of trying to bring it back to life and try to get all those accolades back. Well, it's done well in the Good Food Guide and the AA Guide, but not quite in the Michelin Guide at the moment, but we're trying very hard. And I think we've actually done that now. I mean, it's a great restaurant, it's full all the time, and I'm proud of it. I'm really, really proud of it. When we opened the French, it was the first opening for a while, and it near enough killed me, I must say. It was a very stressful time. Here I was coming out of my sanctuary of my, I think we only had 1 star at the time. Did we have 2 stars? No, we have 2 stars. I think we just got 2 stars. So I was coming out of the sanctuary of my 2-star kitchen into a brand new kitchen with a totally new team. And I was under pressure, and it didn't go quite the way I wanted. See, highlighted by the TV programme. And it almost killed me. So at that time, we had a pop-up restaurant, forgot to mention, at the Roganic in Marylebone. It was there for 2 years. That was coming to an end. The French was starting. We were thinking of finding a new premises in London, but the opening of the French I just thought, sod this, that almost killed me. I don't want to go through all that rigour again. I don't want to do that in London. It's just be too much hassle and no way. So I just turned my back on London for a little while, until I obviously got the call from Claridge's, which, you know, when you get a call like that, you just can't put the phone down and say, go away and think, not for me. It was pretty much I've got to go there straight away. It's about, you know, having people you can trust, and you know, we're building a great team, not only in the restaurants, but backroom guys that go around supporting those restaurants. Although he couldn't refuse Ferrer, it was with a heavy heart that he left that area, because what he had there, you know, I mean, same for me. You know, we set up the second farm together. You know, it was a massive project, and there was nowhere happier for us. First thing in the morning with the sun rising and watering the plants and doing a bit of weeding and doing a bit of picking. I mean, the mobiles don't work, and it's just a beautiful, we're in a valley, mountains on either side. It's one of the most beautiful places that I've known. So we miss that a lot. And I've done MasterChef and stuff like that, and GBM was the major thing. You know, it probably put 35–40%, you know, of revenue on our bottom line, which is pretty incredible, and you know, that was set us on the road to being as busy as we are now. But it's always in the edit. That's what I found. See, in Great British Menu and MasterChef, the editor has always favoured me, and you know, I've always been this happy-go-lucky fellow who forgets to turn things on and you know, makes mistakes and stuff like that. And then to the other side, there was restaurant wars and someone that was screaming at people and you know, stuff like that. And the way it was edited, none of them were true. You know, I'm probably somewhere more towards GBM, but nowhere near towards restaurant wars. They edited me quite bad because, yeah, they showed me under pressure and hot and bothered and shouting and stuff like that. But that was because I was under pressure. As I said, I was out of my comfort zone. I wasn't experiencing this. I was a new team that weren't up to it. There's no doubt about that. For a while, it put me off TV quite a lot because, you know, there was a lot of people that thought I'd come over across well on it, but then there was a lot of people that quite offensive towards me, and I got quite a lot of abuse. And I just thought, I'm quite a private person actually, and I just thought, sod that, I'm not doing TV for a while. Our desire for having things perfect now goes way beyond cooking. It goes to actually growing the ingredients in the first place. So that is a massive obsession of ours, and growing the perfect carrot is everything to us, and then not having to do too much to it, you know. Those times with through the technology phase, we might have taken a carrot and deconstructed it and reconstructed it in 10 different ways. Like, ooh, look at me, look what I can do. Isn't it clever? But it probably tastes like shit, you know? And I fully understand that because we're adding things to it. We're adding products to it. We're adding technique to it. If you've got a perfect carrot, you cook it cook it simply and let the carrot shine. So over the years, last 4 or 5 in particular, the style of cuisine has got a lot simpler because we are relying on our perfect ingredients. That's not to say the technology's not there. You work for a chef because of his reputation and where it could get you in the future. Money and hours didn't come into it. It's not enough these days. You know, you've got to not only offer the hours, a work-life balance, you've also got to pay good wages, and you've also got to have the product as well. So those 3 things, hopefully we give people, and that's why people tend to stay with us for some time. If you've got that work ethic and you've got the desire to get to the top, no matter what.